Hello everyone, this is Dr. El-Hawary and I'm going to cover the fifth tutorial within InDesign or Introduction to Adobe InDesign. So we already covered in the last session the different character styles and how we work through the characters and what are the different alignments of the characters. Now going to the paragraph style, to change between the character style and the paragraph style you have two icons on the left. So in this case, if I click on the paragraph here, it takes me to the whole paragraph styling. This is a little bit different than the character style. Just gonna stay away from those because we already covered them within the character style. And again, the difference between paragraphs spacing, I'm just gonna keep those away as well. I'm just gonna move straight on here to the key features of the crop cap. What is crop cap? Now in here, the way how we're changing our paragraph style or make it different from writers is by using those cap on or crop cap. So if I go to the crop cap here and I'm trying to enlarge it, look what will happen to the first character within my paragraph. So I'm just gonna try to get this a little bit enlarged. So I'm having here the X and all the different text are around the X are being applied. Now in here, let me just put this a little bit down. Here we go. So I'm gonna keep it to 8 for example. Where for example I need the X and the E as well to be enlarged, so I can add more than one character by the second option. So adding another character here, you're gonna find again as many as I want to add those characters. Now this gives it a styling look. So if you just go back here, it looks a little bit stylish rather than just the way of what the writers do. So I'm going back again to my text, and whatever size you would like to get, just try to make sure the spacing of the size is correct and make sure of paying attention to your rest of your paragraph. Now goes to the paragraph itself. Let me just zoom in a little bit to my paragraph so I can see my paragraph more. To move around within your page, you can use this handle over here. Let me just drag my InDesign a little bit to the right. Here I'm having a handle, so I can use it or using H on my keyboard. Or instead of using this handle, I can use my space bar in my keyboard. So if I'm clicking space, notice how the icon changes. So again, from hand to an arrow. Okay, so I can move this around as well, keeping my hands on space bar. Once I'm getting the right place, I'm just gonna release my finger off the space bar. So in this case, I'm having the selection. Now going to the text back again, we already discussed how we're getting the first two letters or more a little bit larger than the rest of the text, and I'm having the text are wrapping my text. So we're having another options here which I can get a bullet points. So let's say for example I need a bullet points over here, so I can get either normal bullet point or I can get numbers rather than bullet point. So again, let's say for example, I'm going to enter here, click enter. It gives you the second one, going to the third one, for example, and so on. So it gives me a different options, 1, 2, 3, or bullet points as well. So if I'm going over here, click and enter, you're gonna find this comes as a bullet point. Now also here you can do shading, and shading makes it easier for the readers to read our text. So let's say for example, I'm going over this and I'm going to shade it. Now it tells me what kind of shading you would like to have. So if I'm applying shading, nothing appears on my text yet until I control the setting of my shading. So I'm going over here, let's shade it for example in yellow. Now pay attention that the yellow here is not clearly yellowish because again, it reflects at the background. So you're trying to change the color and adapting the color to the background itself. So in here, I'm trying to tell the readers, look, this is the most important part I need you to read. If you need to get rid of this, simply what you need to do is on text shading and the shading will be gone. Also, there's another way here to get the attention of the viewers is getting a border around it. So I'm just going to click on the border and I'll change this to red. So going to the red here again, you will find the border. Actually, I can control the border as much as I want by going in the border here and clicking on Alt on my keyboard and just click on the board. It gives me more of those boards, so I can go with more types of those borders, for example. Before doing this, I should highlight my text. Alt, click on it. It takes me through the different borders. So let's say, for example, I'm trying to get this border over here. Clicking OK. You'll find the border itself has been changed. Not pretty much changed again, because again this border doesn't have spaces much between the different paragraph, but that will do. Now going to the hyphen within the word itself. As you see here, each of those words are presented by a dash at the end of them. That means the rest of the word are completed at the second or the next line. If I need to get rid of this, I just need the words to be complete to the end of this spinal here, or the spine here. So what I need to do is I will select all my paragraph by selecting Control All or Command All on my Mac. And in this case, I'm just gonna untick hyphenate here. So once I click on it, you will find again the text are completed at the end of each of those lines. Now, of course, if I'm using Justify here, it will look much better, but I'm getting a lot of spaces rather than just if I'm having a hyphenate here, I'm having less text and more dashes at the end of my words over here. So I'm just gonna untick this just to make sure I can read the word properly, and I'm just gonna align it toward the left. Okay, going to the last point here, using a columns within my text. So first of all, I'm just gonna highlight those and make sure those are back to zeros. Okay, so everything back to normal again. If I'm using here a column between the text, so let's say for example I don't need the text to be a one full paragraph, I just need it to be a couple of paragraphs. Simply what I can do is I can go to the column here and just getting more numbers of columns. So in here I'm having different paragraphs. If I'm going less to 2, so I'm having 2 paragraphs that are displayed within my InDesign. So the first paragraph is always allocated in the left, second paragraph is allocated to the right, and depends how you need the reader to read your paragraphs. Now this is how we see it usually in newsletters. When we go to the newsletters, we see some of the paragraphs are located next to each other to make it easier again, so we don't read pretty much of the paragraph, so we can read the first sentences of the paragraph to get the whole idea behind the showing picture opposite of it. Now in here you're gonna find as well the paragraph. If you just move around to those, let me just go over here and highlight. If I'm going to this paragraph over here, what's happening here? It minimizes the size of your paragraph within the column. So what happened? The sizes between the columns, so the margins between the columns are getting enlarged. So let me just push it more up. If you look here, you're gonna find a bigger size, and in this case you can control the size of your text, but this is gonna take a lot of pages. We're going to waste a lot of pages to get those sizes. So I just keep them to 0. Again, the 2 paragraphs now I can read them properly and I can identify one from another. Let me just put the paragraph to again back to 1. Again, there's something here which enlarging your text over the columns. So let me just go here and put this to 2 again. And I'm going here to span all. So span all here, as you see here, it can be quite hard for the readers to read, because again I'm having 2 of those paragraphs that are attached to each other, or they are completing of each other, where I'm having the third one at the bottom. I can do this with the span second, so I'm getting the second as well, third, and so on. Usually I don't use that much of the spanning here, so let me put span third. I don't use much of spanning here. At this case, if we're spanning the paragraph, we can get one paragraph and then we stop at this paragraph and we're going with the second paragraph, but again I'm dividing them so the readers can find it easy to read. But usually I don't do so, and I don't do this because I don't need the reader to be confused, so I'm going to keep them none. And even the column here, I'm just going to get it to be one column so the reader can go through the text easier. Unless I'm having a couple of images, at this case I can put 2 or divide 2 paragraph by adding another column to my paragraph. Now this is regard the paragraph. Thank you for your attention today. I'm going to present the next slides where we're going to work on pages, layers, and we're going to start working on with our InDesign document. See you later.